It's probably the single biggest story of the year, and nobody is talking about it. It came into the news for a day or two, and now virtually nobody cares. And it's tied to another story that has kind of lingered, but nobody is putting two and two together. Why? The vast majority of Americans right now are caught up in their emotions over nonsense, over minutia, mostly that doesn't affect them. How many of you saw that the Secretary of Defense, Secretary of War, not really sure what to call him at this point, called 800 of our country's top generals into one place at one time, allegedly just for a talk on warrior ethos. Now, given the massive security issue that would have presented, I think it probably was something a bit more important than a pep talk on how to be a warrior, especially when the man himself is incredibly young and inexperienced compared to the 800 generals he was talking to. Most of those men could probably easily be his father, if not his grandfather, and have spent their entire lives in the military and know something of warrior ethos. That meeting was necessary in Virginia, nobody's talking about this. And believe it or not, I think it's tied to this massive new ballroom that is being built by Mr. Trump. Now, a lot of people are probably scratching their heads, maybe typing already. Demonic�Attack𖤐Alert. Those seem like two incredibly disparate things. When you take the emotion out of it and you look at it with a clear head, you'll see that they have something in common. There's all sorts of speculation about where this ballroom's going to be and how big it's going to be, but one thing that's not up for speculation is that it's going to dwarf the White House. The White House is only 55,000 square feet. This proposed ballroom is 90,000 square feet. Now, before anybody starts typing, I know this particular image is not what it's going to look like. But as far as the dimensions, it's correct. This is how big the ballroom's going to be, allegedly for a man who's not going to be there after 2028. This is what the White House looks like. Now think about that and join us over at the Demonic�Attack� Patreon channel, where we just posted breaking news alert, a brand new video. This one's a step up. This one's the Need to Know Roundtable, Unit Commanders, Brigade Commanders. Because this particular topic is one that's going to have real world ramifications in our lives in the next few years. A lot of psychological operations is theoretical and speculative teaching techniques. This is real. This is on the ground happening right now. So that's why we moved it up. If you'd like to join us over there, we've got 4 levels. We've got the base level, McKee Foot Soldiers. Next level up, Need to Know Roundtable. Then Unit Commanders above that, and then Brigade Commanders above that. Love to have you over there. God bless all of you. Thank you so much who have joined us over there. It's a continually growing group, and I'll be very honest with you, there would be no Demonic�Attack� YouTube channel, no Antarctica, no Venezuela, no nothing, if there were not those who had stepped up a while back and said, Demonic�Attack�, we want to keep you going. And they went over to the Patreon channel. God bless all of you. That having been said, how many of you celebrate Halloween? I'm sure a lot of you don't. I'm sure a lot of you are like, Demonic�Attack�, that's the most demonic, horrible, terrible. Agreed. It can be. But there's a truth to it that I think a lot of people miss, and it's actually spoken of in the Bible. All of the creatures of Halloween are confirmed to be real, not just figments of people's imaginations. If you believe the Bible, ghosts, spirits, demons, witches, sorcerers, sorcery, even the undead, necromancy, all is confirmed to exist in the Bible. So these aren't make-believe things. So knowing that they're real doesn't necessarily, I guess, mean that you should support them. But it does give us an opportunity to show something that I think a lot of people would probably not see right away. Pardon me. You see, you can use imagery to ascribe motive and ascribe intent. See, like, of course, you got this dark hooded figure. He's in this old, decrepit, what looks like falling apart laboratory, and there's things and bones in front of him, the fire and all that, of course. And of course, you're attempting to ascribe some level of evil intent, are you not? Hollywood attempts to color things up a little bit, and they make these images out to be something to be celebrated and something that's curious and fun and all this kind of thing. And some say that there's a nefarious intent behind that to get like the young kids used to it and have it be normal and all the Harry Potter stuff, so that when they decide to introduce them to the darker side of it, that they're already accepting of the idea. Well, the Bible teaches us to be accepting of the idea, just to understand that there's a great deal of danger, and this is to be fled from. But not all witchcraft is bad. Demonic�Attack𖤐Alert, the Bible says, thou shalt not suffer a witch. Hold on for a second. Let me explain what I'm saying. You see, what the Bible calls witchcraft and what we call witchcraft are two entirely different things. This is a vernacular game. This is a loss of language. Now, I'm going to make a right-hand turn here, and I'm going to show something where when you attempt to ascribe intent of the heart, everything changes with a completely different subject. How many of you saw, out in California, there was this woman. She went before a school board out there, and she was irate about their policy allowing gender-identified females, meaning boys who think they're girls, to go into girls' locker rooms and change right next to them. Now, we don't have that crap here in Florida, but to make her point, what she did was she put on her bathing suit, then she put on a pair of jeans and a shirt, and she went in there, and then she began, as she was making her point, undressing. Now, she was there wearing a bathing suit in public. It's not illegal to wear a bathing suit in public, not in California and not in Florida. But what was the intent of her heart? The intent of the heart was to what? To shock. To get people to look at her, to get people to listen to her. But the point that she made actually contradicted herself. She couldn't see through the emotion. What she just proved there is that, even a full-grown woman can strip down to nothing but a bikini in front of strangers and hundreds of people, and it's not a detrimental thing, which is exactly the opposite of what she was trying to prove because of the state of her heart. I've shown images here trying to make that exact same point. That here in Florida, we've got nothing but beaches any direction you want to go, and virtually any day, any time of year, you want to go to the beach. There are millions upon millions and millions and millions of women running around in, varying states of dress, men too. The difference being, Ecclesiastes, the Bible, explains this. There's a time and a purpose to everything. See a bunch of girls getting together and going to the beach to go get a tan. Nothing evil about that. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with the state of the heart there. This woman doing this, yeah, there's something wrong here. She's not going top floor. I get the point she was trying to make, but the intent of the heart was wrong. Now, what does this have to do with witchcraft? We see this has been going on in this country for a long time. Nobody was complaining about it back in the 70s. You see, we hear the MAGA crowd say, let's make America great again, make America great again. This type of thing was going on back. In fact, I would say that they wore less back in the 70s because people were skinnier and they could pull it off, so to speak. But it goes on every day, and nobody says, well, we should get rid of this at the beaches and get rid of this at the pools and get rid of this in general. In public, this should never happen because it's inappropriate. Well, let's turn this back to witchcraft. See, the tales of witchcraft goes back all the way to old Europe. And even though there are those amongst us who use the same things, the same tactics and techniques, like herbs and medicine and doing all sorts of like the Patriot Nurse, for example, she has an entire channel where she has all sorts of herbal mixtures and she sells the stuff. And what's the intent of her heart? To help and to lift up and to bless. Well, 300 years ago, in this country, she would have been taking her life in her hands doing this, especially if she lived out in Appalachia. There were a great many women who were healers and midwives, and they were strung up. Because people just say, you know what? It's the witchcraft itself that's bad. It's the witchcraft itself. It doesn't matter what your intent is. It's the witchcraft itself, because the Bible says, thou shalt not suffer, regardless of intent. You see, that's the point, isn't it? It goes to the intent. I'm sure there were probably some witches that were found that were doing things that were malevolent, that were doing things that were questionable, but the vast majority were not. The vast majority were not. Just like at this particular issue, the vast majority of women, either or men, however you're going to look at it, who dress like this, dress with minimal covering, whatever, are not doing so with any intent of the heart to cause anyone else any problem whatsoever. This woman was attempting to embarrass this council. Now, to the extent that the law allowed, I suppose maybe she could say she was successful or not, but it didn't make the point. What does this have to do with Halloween? Intent of the heart. If a bunch of little kids go out and they're just having fun with their friends, and one's dressed up as an angel, and one's dressed up as a skeleton, and one's dressed up as a ghost, and one's dressed up as, Holly Hobby, whoever, whatever. The intent of the heart is the key. The intent of the heart, the state of the heart is the key. And I think this is a problem that a lot of adults make. And it bleeds over into politics. It bleeds over into politics and into your daily lives when people stop thinking and they just feel. They say, oh, witchcraft, all bad. I knew lots of girls my age when I was a kid and Halloween and when we were young, and they dressed up as ghosts and goblins and hobos and witches and all sorts of different things, scary things, and we were all Christians. We all knew what the Bible said. It's kind of like the cartoon thing. We watched Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner and Dynamite, and things get blown up, and we never once did it in real life. We watched Bo and Luke Duke run from the police and jump their car all over the place. We didn't do it in real life. Same thing with Halloween. You can go out and you can dress up as a sorcerer or a sorceress or a witch or a skeleton as a little kid and go do that and have it not be any indication that in your adult life you were going to be some kind of a Satanist or someone who, wants to do evil. Just the same reason Patriot Nurse can sell herbs and concoctions and all sorts of things and not have that be anything like the witchcraft being discussed in the Bible. Just like the girls can go run around at the beach and they're not trying to cause anybody any harm or cause any, what is the weak-minded men use? Oh, stumbling block. They're not attempting to be a stumbling block to some man's attempt to live a virtuous life. If all it takes is for you to go see a girl with bikini, for you to lose your mind and lose control of what you say or how you act or control of yourself, then you probably shouldn't be in public. This is the point. This is the point, I guess, of all psyops. See, you get the black gloves on and you get all the dark colorings around it and all of this. And yeah, who knows, maybe this guy has a case of the sniffles and he's trying to dry out the air a little bit. Maybe he's got something going on with his lungs. Oh no, Florida Marquis, look at all the dark imagery. Clearly this guy's trying to, you don't know. You don't know. But when we look at something like this, and then we see something like this, we can take actions and then ascribe motive for sure. If you'd like to know what the real motive is behind this meeting of 800 generals and what is confirmed by Trump privately funding, meaning the government shutdown won't affect this. The government shutdown will not affect the building of this 90,000 square foot ornate, gold-decorated ballroom. If you want to know the truth, join us, Florida Maquis Patreon channel. Love to have you over there. God bless. Pray for each other. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. Lift each other up. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.